What if I told you that hidden deep inside the dusty plains of Burkina Faso, there exists a secret army, handpicked, fiercely loyal, feared by enemies and even by civilians themselves? An army born not just to fight terrorism, but to secure the very survival of one man, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Today, we uncover the untold story of the Rapid Response Forces, a story that has remained in the shadows until now. Burkina Faso is not just another country in Africa. It is a land at the crossroads of hope and despair, a nation where every sunrise carries the weight of survival. Surrounded by instability, plagued by poverty, and scarred by relentless jihadist attacks, Burkina Faso has for years stood as a battlefield in the war for Africa's soul. Since 2015, waves of violence linked to extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS have devastated communities. Entire villages have been erased overnight, families shattered, and millions forced to flee their homes. The map of Burkina Faso today is dotted with red zones, areas where the government has little to no control. For years, ordinary citizens asked a haunting question: who will protect us? Then in 2022, history took a dramatic turn. A young soldier, barely 34 years old, rose through the chaos. His name was Captain Ibrahim Traoré. In a coup that stunned the world, Traoré seized power and became the youngest leader in Africa. For some, he was a savior. For others, a dangerous gamble. But for the people of Burkina Faso, he was hope in human form. Traoré promised dignity. He promised to reclaim territory lost to jihadists. He promised to restore national pride. But promises alone cannot defeat insurgents who move like ghosts, strike like shadows, and vanish into the desert. To win this war, Traoré needed something beyond the ordinary. He needed a weapon unlike any other, a force faster, sharper, and more loyal than the crumbling national army. That was the beginning of the Bataillons d'Intervention Rapide, better known as the BIR, the Rapid Response Forces. The BIR were not born in parliament halls or diplomatic meetings. They were forged in secrecy, in camps hidden far from the public eye. Unlike the regular army, bogged down by bureaucracy and plagued with low morale, the BIR were designed for one purpose only: to strike fear into the enemy and to project strength for the new regime. Hand-picked soldiers were chosen to join these elite units. Training was intense, brutal, and swift. Where the regular army took months to deploy, the BIR could move in hours. They were fast, mobile, and uncompromising. They received better weapons, better salaries, and better privileges than their peers. In the eyes of many Burkina-based citizens, these soldiers represented a new dawn. Finally, someone was fighting back with the urgency that the crisis demanded. By early 2025, the BIR had multiplied. What started as an experiment soon expanded into more than 25 battalions. And make no mistake, they were not just another military unit. They became Traoré's personal guardians, his shield against enemies, and his sword against threats both inside and outside the country. When jihadists struck villages, the BIR were often the first to arrive, launching rapid counterattacks. When rumors of dissent spread within the army itself, the BIR were deployed to maintain discipline. And when foreign powers doubted Burkina Faso's resolve, the BIR paraded with pride, sending a message that Traoré's government was not to be underestimated. But as history has taught us, power always comes with shadows. The very same qualities that made the BIR effective also made them dangerous. Whispers began to circulate. Were they truly liberators, or were they becoming predators themselves? In March 2025, disturbing reports emerged from a town called Solenzo. Witnesses told a story that shook the nation. More than 130 civilians, mostly Fulani, were executed in cold blood. Survivors claimed it was not jihadists this time, but the very forces meant to protect them, the Rapid Response Forces. Families were torn apart, children gunned down, and an entire community erased overnight. The government denied direct involvement. Officials blamed terrorists disguised as soldiers. But human rights groups were not convinced. They pointed directly at the BIR, accusing them of committing atrocities under the banner of security. Suddenly, the image of heroes began to crack. And herein lies the paradox of Traoré's secret army. On one hand, they embody discipline, courage, and efficiency. On the other, they represent fear, unchecked power, and the risk of tyranny. The BIR are not just loyal to Burkina Faso, they are loyal to Ibrahim Traoré himself. In a country where institutions are fragile, That loyalty can be both a blessing and a curse. A blessing because it ensures the president's survival. A curse because it raises the question, are they defending the nation or defending the man in power? For ordinary Burkina citizens, the answer is complicated. Some villagers cheer when they see the BIR arriving, knowing that safety has finally reached their homes. Others tremble, unsure if the soldiers before them come as protectors or as executioners. This dilemma is not new in Africa. Across the continent, history is filled with tales of elite forces created to protect leaders, only to turn into tools of oppression. Uganda had the Presidential Guard Brigade, Libya had Gaddafi's Revolutionary Guards, and now Burkina Faso has the BIR. But can this story end differently? Can the rapid response forces escape the cycle of becoming symbols of fear and instead stand as true defenders of the people? The answer depends on what happens next. For Traoré, the solution is clear, yet difficult. The BIR cannot remain a secret army forever. They must be accountable not just to him, but to the people they serve. Accountability means oversight. It means ensuring that when mistakes happen, justice follows. Integration is another key. Right now, the BIR exists as a parallel army, separate from the regular forces. This division creates jealousy, resentment, and the risk of abuse. If Traoré wants to secure lasting stability, he must merge their discipline and efficiency into the larger national defense structure. That way, their loyalty is shared between the leader and the nation, not concentrated in one man. And finally, transparency. The greatest fear surrounding the BIR is their secrecy. Nobody knows where they are trained, how they operate, or who commands them in the field. That mystery fuels suspicion. But by opening up, by showing their successes, their sacrifices, and even their failures, Traoré could turn the BIR from a feared phantom into a respected national institution. If these steps are taken, the benefits would be enormous. Burkina Faso could finally secure its villages without creating new cycles of fear. Traoré's legacy would be cemented not as another strongman, but as a reformer who built trust between the army and the people. And Africa, watching closely, would gain a model of how to build security forces that are strong yet accountable. But if these steps are ignored, the dangers are equally clear. The BIR could slip further into the shadows, committing atrocities that alienate citizens and fuel more insurgency. They could become a weapon of fear in Traoré's hands, securing his rule but destroying the nation's soul. And worst of all, they could one day turn on him, as secret armies so often do. The story of the BIR is still being written. In the eyes of some, they are the future of African defense, lean, loyal, lethal, and effective. In the eyes of others, they are the seeds of dictatorship, a hidden threat to democracy, and a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. At the center of it all is Ibrahim Traoré, a young leader who rose from obscurity to power and who now holds the fate of his nation in his hands. Will he be remembered as the commander who saved Burkina Faso with his secret army, or as the ruler who unleashed forces too dark to control? Only time will tell. But here's what we know right now. This is not just Burkina Faso's story. This is Africa's story. It is a story of resilience, of survival, of leadership under fire. It is a story about the thin line between protector and predator, between salvation and destruction. And it is a story that affects every African, because the lessons of Burkina Faso echo across the continent. And that is why we must keep telling it. Final call to action. If you've stayed with me this far, it means you care about the truth behind Africa's untold stories. It means you understand that what happens in Burkina Faso is not just local news. It is history unfolding before our very eyes. So don't stop here. Subscribe to this channel, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and join me on this journey as we uncover the hidden reality